Hello, welcome. First of all, I would like to welcome you both to this mediation today. Thank you for choosing to come. My name is Samantha, and I am here today as your mediator to help you resolve the conflict between you. What are your names, or how would you prefer that I address you?
You can call me Pam.
Okay.
And you can call me Jake.
Okay, and you can just call me by my first name, Samantha.
Okay.
All right, great, thanks. I'd like to explain a bit about how the mediation process works and what we'll be accomplishing here today. At the end, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. It is necessary for this process for each of you to sign this written agreement to mediate. If you would just look at it over, please. It basically just says that you have come on your own accord, and that what you say here will be kept confidential, and I don't need to release any information discussed here. So if we want to just take a look at this, say this is an agreement between Pam,
Okay.
or Pammy, however you want to say, and Jake, okay, and the mediator, me. You can call me Sammy too if that's easier. Okay. And then again, like I said, it just kind of goes over the role of the mediator, that you both agreed to come here today. And then if you would just like to sign down here, I'll sign as the mediator. And you guys can sign there. Okay, perfect. And again, I'd like to commend you for volunteering, or for voluntarily coming today. All right, moving forward, today, this is kind of how the process is going to go. We're first going to hear each of you tell your side of the story of what happened or is what is bothering you in this conflict. I'll ask some questions to make sure that I understand you. And then I'll give you some more time to explain how you see things and how you're feeling about it. I'll try and help you listen to each other, and then we'll see if we can come up with some ideas for how to resolve the conflict. At the end, if we come up with a solution that everyone feels is fair and that everyone agrees to, we'll sign an agreement, we'll shake on it. And my goal here is to help you figure out your own solution to your problems, as you were the ones that are going to be living with your solution from here onwards. So it's vital the decisions are made by the two of you. This mediation can take up to a half an hour, so if anyone does need a break to use the restroom, or if emotions begin to get a little bit too heated and you need a moment to simmer down, we can take one. Feel free to let me know, we can do so. If we reach the end of the time that we have today and we still haven't reached a resolution, which hopefully doesn't happen, but sometimes can, we can always set up another mediation this week. Sometimes these things can take time. It is important for me to make it clear that everything that you say here in this room stays between us. I'm not going to tell my friends, classmates, or teachers, or anyone about the things you say here. The only exception on this is if someone is in danger of being hurt or hurting someone else, then I do have to report that statement. But with that being said, you can feel safe here to openly share your feelings and to talk about things that I understand are often a little difficult to talk about. I promise that I will listen, and again, I will not share what you say with anyone. It is also important for me to tell you that my job is to help you understand each other better, and hopefully to be able to come up with the solution that works for the both of you. I'm not here to judge you or to decide who was right or who was wrong. As mediators, we promise to try our hardest to remain that neutral third party. And I know that both of you have your own perspectives and feelings about what happened, and I respect both of those sides. So today, throughout this process, I encourage you to both be respectful and to use active listening when the other is speaking, allowing them to fully finish speaking before sharing your response. I have provided you each with notepads that you can use if you need to write down any thoughts or questions you don't want to forget to ask while the other is speaking for when it comes time for your turn to share. So feel free to do that. And I also may be taking notes myself throughout this negotiation just in order to help organize this facilitation. So that about covers the guidelines and structure for today's session. Does anyone have any questions about the process before we begin?
I don't think so. I think you explained it well.
Okay, great. Well, who would like to begin by telling us their side of the story of what's going on?
Well, I guess I'll start. Is that okay?
Okay, yeah.
Well, so my husband passed away a little over a year ago, kind of suddenly. It was very traumatic to our family, as from a death or whatever. But I think in a nutshell, the problem that's been happening is since it's been over a year, a little bit, I started dating again.
Okay.
And his name's Mike, and it's been going really well. And I'm finally starting to feel myself a little, happy again. And so that's kind of good for me. In the meantime, I'm not grieving anymore, but I have moved on to where I'm a place where I can date. And with that said, I've been dating a guy named Mike for a little over 3 months, and I'm really happy about it. And I've tried to bring him around. I have, we'll cook out and do stuff, and I'm have had Jake, meet him a couple times and try to have a cookout, but it's just, all I get is, I get pushed away from Jake, and he's pushing away. He won't even make eye contact with Mike. It's like he's an enemy more than just a rare, a slight friend. Like he treats somebody he doesn't know better than he does Mike. So, and it's just like I'm beating my head against the wall. I just can't get him to interact or show any emotion towards Mike, or even, he doesn't even crack a smile at him.
Okay.
And it's just kind of, that's where we're at. It's very frustrating. It's kind of hurtful to me too. So I don't know. That's kind of why I'm here.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that you finally have worked through some grief and gotten to a point in your life where you're able to date again, and you've been feeling happy with this new guy named Mike.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I heard was that you've been dealing with some issues, maybe of your son not treating Mike with respect or respect for the relationship, and it's kind of led to feelings of hurt and confusion on your end. Did you understand what she said correctly?
I think I understand how she's feeling.
Okay. And then would you like to go ahead and tell me your side of the story, or what's going on?
Yeah, so, I think at the base of it is just that I don't feel like it's my job to make Mike feel welcome. I don't enjoy his presence around the house, and I feel like, I don't know what extra he adds to our lives at this point.
Yeah.
I'm just not enjoying his, willingness to come in and try to be a part of our family when I feel like our family's still not whole right now, and he's not the person that's going to fill that hole.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that you're not comfortable with Mike being around the family at this time. You don't feel like he adds anything or has a reason to be there. And how does that make you feeling?
I feel very frustrated that my mom keeps wanting him to come around. I think that it's so soon after my father passed away, and I think that I just feel very frustrated that this is being forced upon me and our family.
But it's not being forced on you. You come over on your own.
Okay. And we are gonna let each other finish what we're saying. But that's okay. We'll have time. Again, we can write little notes too if we want to come back to it. But I just wanted to make sure you were done finishing what you were saying about just feeling frustrated. And
yeah, I just feel a little bit frustrated, and I just feel like, everyone has their own process with everything, and she may have moved on and things like that, but I'm still working through things, and I'm not ready to open up myself to new family members and things like that right now.
Okay. So what I heard is he's not really hit his stage of being okay with the grieving in the past, and that he's pretty frustrated that meeting Mike has been inflicted on him. Were you able to hear that correctly from him?
I heard that.
Okay. Do you have anything to respond to that with?
Well, like I guess I interrupted, but it's been over a year, and I've gone to grieving classes and everything, which has totally helped me. And I don't know why he wouldn't want me to be happy.
Exactly.
And Mike's a good guy. It's not like he's trying to take over any spot. It's just a cookout sometimes. And then if we want to watch a movie, we'll sit down, make the popcorn and everything, and he just leaves. And no matter what I do, he just never comes around.
Jake just leaves.
He just leaves, and Mike will be like, "Hey, how was your day?" And it's like a one-word answer.
Really?
Fine, blah.
And then before this, your guys' relationship.
Yeah, it was great. We would be sitting there sharing popcorn and having fun or whatever, and watching a good comedy or something together. You know?
Exactly.
And Mike's just trying to have a good time too, and it's really not that hard to ask to have Jake come over and hang out.
Exactly. And I know that you mentioned that you've sought some grieving counseling. Has that been helpful
It's
for
been very
you?
helpful. Yeah, I met some good friends through it, and we, were able to talk about stuff, and it's worked out.
Yeah.
So I like it. Yeah, it's through our church.
And have you done any of the same kind of classes or therapy?
I
help?
haven't.
Mhm.
I've been really
That's
busy because
totally okay,
I'm at
yeah.
college right now.
Yeah.
And so I've been really busy with classes and I haven't had a lot of time to devote to extra things. And I feel like also it's a very difficult thing for me to talk about, the passing of my father, and so I just don't
Yeah.
know if putting myself in a setting of a grieving class is going to be the most beneficial thing for me
Exactly.
at this time.
Exactly. It just makes you feel uncomfortable. Or,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think so.
Okay. And you're okay with that? You understand that?
Yeah, I've offered to pay for it or whatever, but he won't do it. But okay.
Okay. And from my understanding, you feel like it's an acceptable time to start dating again. You do want to put yourself out there. Is this something that is hard for you to grasp or understand, that she feels it's time, that she wants to kind of meet people again?
I can understand that everyone has their own process with it. I just feel like 14 months after death is too soon.
Yeah.
After you had 20 years of marriage.
And do you have any intention of trying to get closer to Mike or anything in the future like that? Or you just really don't want him around?
I just think that he's always there. He's
Yeah.
always present. And I feel like whether I like it or not, it's just that seems to always find his way over to our house, even on like a weeknight.
Yeah.
And there's no time for me to do anything at home because Mike's always there and I don't want to be around him.
And do you feel like it's distanced your relationship with your mother at all, or put obviously hindrance there since we have the conflict today?
Definitely.
Well, I do want to again commend you both for agreeing to come to the mediation today, because it sounds like we are trying to find a solution to this. And from my understanding, you do not have any intention of separating with Mike. You're happy
No, I'm
for
really
now.
happy. I mean, we're solid together, and it makes me happy. And my hopes would be that Jake could join it. And I do miss our time together, but even that's being hindered now since Mike's around.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that way. I don't know why he just can't feel included.
Yeah. And how does that make you feel?
Well, it makes me feel, kind of angry because sometimes he can be kind of jerky about it too.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know how it makes me feel.
Yeah.
I just don't like it.
And you have no intention again of accepting Mike really in the near future?
I think I just need some space. So I mean, I can't tell you when that day is going to be.
Yeah.
I can't, but I just think I need some space from him. I feel like our core family can't even rekindle because Mike's always there.
Well, that makes sense, and it definitely sounds like we've discovered what the main conflict here is. It sounds like both of you are pretty set in your ways, but again, are trying to mediate and hopefully find a resolution to this. So I do have a suggestion that we separate for a minute and do a form of what's called caucus, and it's an individual meeting, a one-on-one, and it'll be with the both of you, but individually, and
Okay.
you can feel free to open up and talk to me about whatever it is that maybe you might want to say without the other one around, and it is
Okay.
confidential unless you do want something to be shared from that meeting. Then you can let me know, and we'll come back together after that, and hopefully maybe after hearing a little bit more personal sides of the story, we'll be able to find and agree upon a resolution. But would you guys feel okay
Yeah, I
in
like
agreeing to one of
I
those?
like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. So we'll go ahead and leave this room, and we'll go into the side meeting room. Alright, so now again, I want to remind you that this is confidential between you and I. And so unless you want something to be expressed after this, when we meet back up with your mother, then you can let me know and we can address that. But feel free to talk openly and say anything that maybe you felt like you couldn't say in front of her.
Well, I kind of did have some things I wanted to say, and it's just obviously very emotional to talk with her, just because she's so close to the situation. But you've made me feel so comfortable here that I'm going to share it with you.
Okay, sounds good.
Um,
I'm here to listen.
So, you know, I, at the really end of the day, don't think Mike is all that bad of a person. It's nothing personal against him. It's more of a my healing issue,
Okay.
I feel like. And I'm still struggling with the grieving of my father's passing. So, you know, it's not that, and Mike, just by the nature of his role, like with my mom, just is a trigger to me. Like, I feel like seeing him in the house, like, you know, it's just something I'm not used to. Having another man in the house, it's only been, you know, a little over a year. And he's always there.
Yeah.
Like, always. Like, I feel like I don't even have the opportunity to have, like, quality time with my mom one-on-one because Mike's always there. And I was maybe a little bit resistant to, like, going to, like, grieving counseling or things because it was just too much for me. Like, my mom maybe had, honestly, a healthier approach to her grieving. But by the time I feel like I'm more ready to talk about it more with her, now Mike's there and I can't talk about that with her because he's always there.
Exactly.
And so, honestly, it would actually help our relationship if you wouldn't mind sharing that with her, that, like, I would be more open to having more one-on-one time with her, and then maybe I would be open to going to, like, a one-on-one counselor or something for grieving. And maybe if I started to feel better about the loss that our family experienced, I would be more open to Mike and him being around and me kind of moving forward with the relationship with him.
Perfect. And again, I want to remind you that you don't have to agree with it just to say it or whatever, but if that's the truth and you're willing to kind of do this and maybe be open to Mike later, then I would just still state I'm not comfortable with it as of now, but you're willing to
Yeah.
work there.
That's what I mean,
But-
exactly, yeah.
And
like,
then
now.
would you say that maybe a source of your frustration and kind of some of your actions have really just been from is underlying grief?
Oh, I think so. Like,
Yeah.
I'm still just angry at the situation, and Mike is a trigger for me, so I think it's easier for me to let out anger on him.
Exactly. I can only imagine how difficult that would be. Okay, perfect. And is there anything else that you would want to share with me before we go back and meet together?
I don't think so. I just really appreciate your help in communicating these kind of complex feelings to my mom with me.
And so again, I just want to reiterate kind of what I heard from you is that you're still struggling with your father's passing more so than maybe your mom knows, or for the reasons behind you not liking Mike and stuff, and that Mike is a huge trigger still. And you do want to share this information with her, as well as you've come to the decision that you might want to seek therapy for yourself, and maybe it'll be more helpful to go through that grieving process alone instead of only having your mom or Mike to go to.
Yes.
So we can go ahead and share that information with her today. And is there anything that you wouldn't like me to say?
No, honestly, I think it's just a difficult thing for me to discuss with her, so I appreciate your assistance in sharing all of it.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you for being open with me, and we'll go from there. Okay, so a little bit of the same rules apply here. There is confidentiality, but what makes this different is that it's confidential between you and I. And the third party, your son, doesn't have to know what is discussed here, just so you can feel more openly to express yourself. But if there is something that you would like to express outside of this meeting, then just let me know and we can bring that up. Look for some possible solutions afterwards. But is there anything that you feel like you wanted to express or say that you didn't really feel comfortable around?
Yeah, well, so as you know, my husband died.
Oh.
It's been, I don't know, a little over a year. And my big concern is that I'm so worried about him. About Jake.
About Jake.
And he's isolated himself. All I try to do is include him. I want him to be social, because if he's not, I'm afraid he's gonna get depressed. He's not going to any grieving classes, or, counseling. I just want him to get better, and Mike's a good guy, he doesn't put pressure on him or anything. I just want Jake to feel included, and I don't want him to feel isolated. I mean, that's a big thing, because he just doesn't talk much anymore, and we used to always have a good time together when we did stuff.
Exactly.
So I don't know how to break him out of it. I don't know if it's my job to do, but I feel like it is. I'm his mom.
Exactly. And I understand you guys have a strong relationship.
Yeah, always. And so I don't think it's Mike that's even the problem. I don't know what the problem is.
Yeah.
And it's just that he's like a jerk to Mike.
He is.
Yeah, he's like a 12-year-old, you're not my dad.
Yeah.
But, and I don't know if it's him just not accepting, but he's old enough, I think that it's okay, that he should be happy for me.
And I know that he just expressed that he's not getting along with Mike or really loves him in the family picture right now, but you again expressed that you have no intention of taking
Yeah, I don't
Mike
force Mike
outside.
on. Right.
Yeah. Okay, and are there any possible solutions that you can think to this situation before we brainstorm together?
I don't know the solution. I just wish that he would see somebody maybe. But every time we're not close enough right now for me to say it.
Because he's not coming to you to talk about it
And
anymore.
we're not talking much anymore, so I don't know the solution. Maybe it's something you could push on for a little bit, but.
I know it's hard to say like what an accurate time to grieve is, because everybody does it at different processes, but it kind of sounds like you're a little bit concerned that he's still taking this long.
Right, and again,
Not getting help.
the more he shuts down, the more I worry.
Okay. So you're kind of just coming from a worried mother's standpoint. Maybe that's why you're trying to bring him around you and Mike more, just so he can have someone to hang out with and be close to you.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Sounds good. Well, is this okay if I share this information with Jake, or did you want me to keep anything
I think it's
confidential
good.
between us?
I think it's okay.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, we can go back to the regular meeting session and look for some possible solutions.
Okay.
Caucus.
Alright guys,
Okay.
welcome back to the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I want to appreciate you both for opening up to me during the caucus. And you both actually agreed that you don't mind what was said to be shared. So I'm gonna kind of update you each on a little bit of what was shared, and hopefully we can brainstorm some possible solutions and come into more of an understanding and agreement. So first I'll start off with Jake's. That's who we did the caucus first with. And Jake had expressed that sometimes he doesn't speak about this stuff because it is still very difficult for him to talk about. That he is still struggling pretty badly with his father's passing, and he misses one-on-one time with you. He feels like now Mike's kind of there, he can't have that opportunity to come to you for things or open up because Mike's always just in the way. And he did say Mike's not a horrible person. I think it is more stemming from the grief and not being ready with his father's passing, which everybody grieves at different time lengths. And one possible solution that he did recognize and note is that he understands that he would be willing to accept help from a possible grievance counselor.
Okay.
And that would be something that he could do one-on-one.
That would make me really happy.
Yeah, and he also expressed that he's still just not ready to want to get close to Mike at this point. He's not ready, but in the possible future, maybe after he's done some work and feels ready, then he can come around. But just right now, it's not so much about Mike or you, it's just he needs to come to a state where he's ready to kind of move on and start being more social. And I don't think that him being angry or disrespectful is really the source, but more just kind of like a sadness and struggling. If that can make sense. Did I explain that right?
Yeah, very well.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds
That
good.
makes sense.
And then your mother told me that she doesn't mind things being shared either. I want to appreciate you both because these things are hard to talk about, but it's good that we're getting it out there. And your mom, she just expressed that she has like a pretty severe underlying worrying about you. And again, there's not a timeline for grief or whatever, but I think she's noticed with time maybe you began to isolate even more and notice kind of some withdrawal from your friends. And like you expressed and like she's noticed with Mike being around the picture, you don't really come to her anymore. So I think she has kind of been what seems like forcing Mike upon you and forcing you to hang out as just wanting you to have somebody to hang out with and somebody to open up to and talk to. And one of her main concerns too was that you weren't agreeing upon the fact that you might need counseling or taking up that active service. Now, did I explain that correctly?
Right.
Okay. And like I had mentioned to you, Jake still is not ready at the time to want to develop the bond with Mike. Not only does he not want to, it's been a triggering event for him.
Okay.
So, and I think sometimes that's where the actions and behaviors have come from because it is a triggering event.
Okay.
And so I was thinking of possible solutions, and again, I want these to be your solutions you come up with, but you both kind of told me. I know Jake had said that he would be willing to go and get help from a grievance counselor,
Okay.
and maybe later when he's ready, be more accepting and open to Mike, or at least
Okay.
try to. And then from your side, do you have any solutions or
You know,
things that you say? I know you talked about wanting to maybe spend more one-on-one time with
yeah,
him.
maybe I could schedule a time for Mike to come versus he's just always at my house and then expect you to pop up and be 100% in the game.
Yeah.
And maybe say, hey Jake, Mike's gonna come over Friday night, we're gonna watch a movie, you're more than welcome to come, and if you don't, that's okay.
Yeah.
Or you know.
Or maybe for some time too, again, while he's working with his counselor and going through this process on his own, maybe you kind of don't want to see Mike at all, or maybe you just want to see your mom one-on-one until you express that you're ready. Is that correct? Or
I think that I like the idea of not being surprised by Mike. I think that if he's making you happy and that's part of your grieving process, then I obviously want the best for you. So I think that that's a very reasonable thing to be like, hey, he's gonna come over, and so it's not just this surprise, like, oh, he's coming over after work, you know, and then I like having to do my homework at the dining room table, and then he's over there.
Okay.
yeah.
But I feel like there's some, like, I don't know, I think this is helpful because I feel like there's like common misunderstandings on both sides. But I feel like a lot of the solutions are the same. Is that I just want to spend more time with her, and like hopefully that'll make you feel better about me, you know.
Right.
and kind of
Cause I
rekindle
miss our talks and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and exactly that's why I commend you for wanting to have the negotiation. And so from here on out, which is we're about at the end, is I would just like us to again reiterate the possible solutions we've come up with. What you can each do from your side to assist the other. And then I have another document that we'll just sign on it
Okay.
because
Sure.
again, I have no biases. It's just what you guys both feel comfortable. Is there anything that you want to add before we go to the final signing?
No, I think we kind of covered it.
That
I'm
sounds
gonna
good.
Okay.
I'm gonna seek out some counseling, and then
Mhm.
we're gonna schedule some time for Mike to come over while I'm not there. Is this the one you gave me earlier? This?
Yes.
Okay. Do I just sign here?
I'll just edit this part out. I don't know where the paper is. That's okay. Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll just write down the solutions that we've come up with. And so I think you were gonna get therapy. You'd be willing to do some self-work. Okay. And then Mom, I think you said that
I'm gonna schedule more time for Jake and me, like a dinner and
one-on-one,
one-on-one, more schedule, and I'm gonna put schedule.
kind of giving him space to allow that time for
Yes.
self-help. And again, Jake expressed that he would later have intentions of coming around.
Yeah.
But, alright, and is there any other solutions besides, willing to be getting a therapy and willing to have more one-on-one time without Mike for now?
I think that's a good
It's
start.
a good starting
Okay.
point, yeah.
You guys feel a bit better about, you did, or do you feel better about how you did going into the conflict?
I
I
do,
definitely do.
You do.
I think I was
okay.
being overbearing and I get it now, so,
Oh,
thank you.
I can definitely tell that you guys care about each other and have a strong relationship. So again, thank you for letting me be the mediator today, and we'll just sign at the end just so we can make sure this is a thing we agree upon.
Right here.
Sure.
And we'll get your signature. Alright, perfect. And
Okay.
if there's ever anything else, just feel free to reach out and I would always be helpful to mediate.
Okay, thank you so much.
Alright,
you.
we'll end that. Thank you.
Okay.
Yay!